battle with Deshaun Watson not a part of that because he's likely going to be out the whole season with his injury. You got Flacco, you got Pickett, you have Gabriel, you have Sanders, so a couple of rookies there. Who's going to start week one? Who will ultimately be the starter?
I say Kenny Pickett starts week one. They traded a 5th-round pick for him. This is a guy that is a former 1st-round pick, and I think will benefit from playing in the offense under Kevin Stefanski. Now, again, we were talking about this earlier with the Indianapolis Colts. It's like dealer's choice. Who do you pick when you look at these 4 quarterbacks? I don't think week one you can roll a rookie out there, right? Myles Garrett, supposedly they said there was a plan in place. I don't think he believed that a rookie quarterback was starting week one when he signed that $40 million a year deal. So I believe it'll be Kenny Pickett just because they traded draft capital to get him, and he's still young. Joe Flacco, yes, has had some success there, but Joe Flacco's towards the tail end of his career.
I actually think Kenny Pickett's the most likely of those 4 to not be a Cleveland Brown week one. I think there's a chance that he's on the outside looking in. Yeah, they gave up 5th-rounder for him, but they used more draft capital on Dylan Gabriel and used the same draft capital on Shedeur Sanders. And obviously Joe Flacco, I think, is there to be the mentor for the 2 young guys. So I think his job's pretty safe. I actually think it's going to be Dylan Gabriel. If I had to bet right now, I would bet on Dylan Gabriel. He is the most experienced of this bunch, of him and Shedeur Sanders. Even of Kenny Pickett, the guy started 63 games in college. He was a 4-year starter in high school. What I saw from him at Oregon was a guy who can handle the rigors of an NFL offense. Maybe he doesn't have this high ceiling, but he at least gets the fan base excited that you have a rookie out there for a fan base that's obviously been kicked to the curb in the Deshaun Watson era.
Okay, our producer wants us to go quickly on this, which is really hard to go quickly on the Steelers.
Hurry up, spit it out, spit it out.
Mason Rudolph, Will Howard there, both of them very gritty. They both want that job, and we still don't know. Aaron Rodgers is making headlines, just not about football. Who starts week one?
Mason Rudolph. He's very familiar with this team. He took them to the playoffs in 2020.
Is that regardless if Aaron Rodgers is there?
I don't think Aaron Rodgers is playing.
Okay,
I honestly
you think he's going to
retire. So I think the Steelers have found themselves in this position because they're in the Aaron Rodgers show, and he moves how he wants to move. Ultimately, I believe Mason Rudolph will be the starting quarterback.
I think it's Aaron Rodgers. I think he just loves the attention in the offseason. He'll walk in.
If it's not, though, between those two, who?
Mason Rudolph. Okay. It's going to be tough for a rookie drafted that late to beat out a guy who's been in Pittsburgh before.
All right, one more to go. It's the New Orleans Saints, and you had the issue with Derek Carr, who's done. Yeah. Tyler Shuck, Spencer Rattler. Who should be the starter?
Spencer Rattler. When you look at him in his small sample size of 5 games last year, 4th game he started to really get in the rhythm and went toe-to-toe with Baker Mayfield in Week 18 versus the Tampa Bay Bucks. It's just hard for a rookie to come in right away and get the nuances of the offense. Yes, they took Tyler Shuck in the 2nd round, but I honestly think Spencer Rattler is more skilled than him when you talk about pure arm talent. So I'm going to go Spencer Rattler.
Yeah, I think you go with the youth. If you're restarting this rebuild, and you go Spencer Rattler.
I mean, he's only 1 year in the league, though.
He's the younger one, so you go with the youth. And
that's wild. Spencer's still younger than Shuck.
Exactly.
But I do think that, the 1 year under his belt, already handling the rigors of the NFL, what I saw from Tyler Shuck is a guy who maybe, as much as he was, 7-year collegiate player, I just do think the pressure that he's going to see in the NFL is going to be a little bit of a wake-up call. It's going to be difficult for him. So I think, if I'm the Saints, go Spencer Rattler.
Would you want, like, a Kenny Pickett there?
No.
Could that be a team?
Okay. Absolutely not.
You want the guys who have the potential in your building, and if they fail,
to keep
that's almost the best thing, because then you're an extra.
Absolutely not.
Where Anthony Richardson has been unable to stay healthy for the majority of his first 2 seasons. Would it benefit them at all to have Daniel Jones come in and just win this job week 1? Who do you think does it?
I believe Daniel Jones does win the job. He had an opportunity as a free agent to go to multiple teams, maybe even re-sign with the Minnesota Vikings, but he was given this opportunity to start because it is going to be an open quarterback battle between Anthony Richardson. And usually when you go to a team, a guy is picked in the top 5, he's going to be your franchise quarterback. But to your point, Anthony Richardson has struggled to stay healthy. Also, commitment issues, right? Last year, he comes out and says, I'm tired and I have to come off the field for a play, which, again, those offensive linemen have to be looking at him crazy when he came back on the field after saying, I just needed a break. You don't think we need a break after each single play? So, Daniel Jones right there, you see his record the last couple of years, 2022. That's the reason why he got paid, right?
Did you ever ask out? Did you ever say I need out, Coach?
No, I never. Now, we have a nice rotation on D-line, but I never asked to come out of the game. Like,
I'm tired. I need a little break.
Exactly. You're not supposed to do that. Everybody's tired when they're playing in the NFL. But as a quarterback, everybody has to believe that you're the leader and that you're willing to go through the foxhole and the fire with them. And that doesn't prove that when you're taking yourself out of the game. So I ultimately believe Daniel Jones will win this job just because Anthony Richardson has had 2 years. He's been banged up, and he hasn't been consistent throwing the football.
I completely disagree. I think Daniel Jones winning this job is the worst thing if you're an Indianapolis Colts fan. Just, you know what his ceiling is. His ceiling is not good enough. His ceiling is 9 wins, maybe 10 wins. And that's just not.
You don't think he could
get you to the playoffs, though?
You know, you had the Baker Mayfield, you had the Sam Darnold, a resurgence like Geno Smith.
I don't see it whatsoever with Daniel Jones. You just never seen flashes of high-level play. The highest level play he had was as a runner in New York. Like that one year where they had 9 wins, it was because he did a lot with his legs. Well, Anthony Richardson's even better in that regard. So if you're really leaning into that, you're probably still going to want Anthony Richardson. He just hasn't played a ton of football. That was the whole thing on him coming out. He was a one-year starter in a run-heavy offense there at Florida. The guy needs the reps, and if he hasn't, obviously, if Daniel Jones is better, yeah, he should get the job, but that is the nightmare scenario if you're a Colts fan.
Well, this is my pushback. If you're a Colts receiver, who do you want starting at quarterback? Anthony Richardson, who has struggled to throw you the ball, or Daniel Jones, who's actually been to a playoff game and has a 63 completion percentage for his career?
Is there a third option?
There's not a third option. There's not a third option.
Mike, let me ask you this. What about the Giants? And there are so many interesting quarterback rooms and personality-driven quarterback rooms here. You get Russell Wilson, Jameis Winston, and now you have Jackson Dart in the mix. Now, Brian Daboll has said repeatedly it's Russ's job to lose. He's going to take first-team reps. He's going to start week 1. But how much could things change over the course of the season? Or in the summer?
I bet they don't. I bet it's Russell's until basically the season or until he gets hurt. I doubt they change course. I bet it is him through and through. Jackson Dart, coming from that Ole Miss offense, it was so gimmicky. It does not prepare you for the NFL. He's going to struggle or need that seasoning coming in. But Russell Wilson, the biggest selling point for him compared to Jameis, compared to Daniel Jones, who just left. He doesn't fumble. He doesn't throw it to the other team. He's not going to turn the ball over. Yeah, he may take some bad sacks, but he's a good deep ball thrower to a offense that has 2 great deep ball wide receivers in Darius Slayton and Malik Neighbors. So it pairs well enough. And again, he's not going to go out and lose you games. This is a defense-first football team at this point with that defensive line. He at least gives you that chance to win those.
Yeah, I believe Mr. Unlimited, Russell Wilson, will be the starting quarterback. Let's not forget, just last year, he helped the Pittsburgh Steelers get to the playoffs. To Mike's point, the issue in New York is their quarterbacks have turned the football over. Russell Wilson is synonymous with not turning it over. Now, he will take some sacks, which is an issue, and he'll hold on to the ball too long. But I believe this is a scenario that we do see Jackson Dart, Amanda, and because they have a gauntlet of a schedule. Their first 12 games, 8 of those are versus teams that made the playoffs last year. And then when you look at 2 of the other 4 games, it's for Chicago and San Fran. Everybody assumes they're going to be significantly better. So if things go left for the Giants, I could see a scenario where Jackson Dart, maybe the last 5-6 games of the season, comes into that starting role.
Let's go to the Cleveland.
McNown to Trubisky. The quarterback position has been a century-long moving target in the city of Chicago. Last week, old reporting resurfaced that now Bears quarterback Caleb Williams' camp was not thrilled with the idea of landing in Chicago. Williams' father, Carl, saying, quote, "That's where quarterbacks go to die." Fast forward 14 months, it's a new coach for that QB, Ben Johnson, addressing a historic opportunity.
I love it. I love it. I love the opportunity to come on in and change that narrative. That's where great stories are written. And so we're looking to write a new chapter.